Hello, I'm Rich Dean with West Coast Collector Cars in Oregon, and today I've got a very unusual car to show you. This is a 1970 Citroen D Special. Now, I think the American way to pronounce that is Citroen, but really the correct way, it's a French car, so the correct way to pronounce it is Citroen. So, well, that's all the French I know. And it took me all night to kind of, practice that to be able to pronounce it. So, Citroen, that is the correct pronunciation. At any rate, this is a really neat and a unique car. And what these were probably famous for was their suspension. The suspension on these are hydraulic, and they raise and they lower. But one trait that's really outstanding is these cars are capable of driving on three wheels. So I'm going to show you some of that. I'm going to show you some of the traits on this particular car. This car has been owned by the last owner for nearly 30 years and been excellently maintained. If you take a look at the website, westcoastcollectorcars.com, you'll see pictures where I have of the undercarriage as well as the rest of the car, but also some nice documentation. I've got all the books and manuals for it. So take a look at that, but right now let's go take a look at the car. This is the original paint for the car. It's originally a white car. Paint still shines very nicely on it. It's nice and smooth. Looks good. Very clean. Vibrant. Take you inside here. Door panels are nice, and this nice little tray looks good. The dash is really, it's excellent. Everything works. All the gauges work on the car. All the lights work. Of course, you have your tachometer here, speedometer here, the odometer works. This is the proof circuit. That works. This is the horn. If you pull forward, that should scare some people out of the way. Turn signals work. Check this steering wheel out. This is correct here, this type of wrap, and it had this single bar that came down, and that's just how they were, this nice pod. The engine is a 1.9 liter inline four-cylinder, and it has been rebuilt. It was rebuilt about 20,000 miles ago. As well, the clutch was replaced at that time, and the transmission is a 4-speed manual on the column. So that's a little unusual too. We don't see that here in America. And back in the day, I remember seeing some of these around, but in recent times, you just don't see them anymore. All the doors align nicely, as you can see. And you'll see that there is some wear on the interior, the seating, mainly in the seams, where the seam has come apart. And that could probably be repaired, but you can get the skins for these. Carpeting is original, looks nice. Headliner looks nice. By the way, I want to point out that dome light. The dome lights do work, see? The window glass. The glass is excellent on the car, and all the windows roll up and down nicely. Seat belts on all four corners. Doors close nice and tight. It's kind of neat, this piece here. And these are the turn signals up here. Kind of has that space age look. These came out originally in the mid 50s, and of course, everything in the 50s was starting to kind of gear toward that, space age styling, and this is no exception. Back here, we've got the D Special call out. This was the entry level for the Citroen. And you got these nice little chevron decorations here. That's correct. I'll show you inside the trunk. Nothing too spectacular back here, but the trunk is nice. You can see it's not rusted or anything. I'd show you the floor pan, but it's got that padding under there, but you might be able to see it in the pictures from underneath on the website. Take a look at that. Bumper's nice. Even these rubber bumperettes, excellent shape. This bolt right here is one on each fender, and if you remove that bolt, you can take the whole fender off. So presumably to maybe access part of the suspension, or if you needed to work on it, or maybe repair a fender or something. Take in on this side. Notice how clean it is. The thresholds are nice and clean. Carpeting and so forth is nice. Dash is nice. The hood opens up, has a latch on both sides. One side is here, and then of course the other side, I'll get that, and I want to show you the engine on this car. Nice and solid. These cars came out of the factory with Michelin tires on them, and the owner maintained that with those Michelin tires, and even the spare is still a Michelin. So he really tried to keep it original, did a fine job on it, really maintained it nicely. That top there that you're looking at is fiberglass, and that's how they were, you know, the tops on these, fiberglass. Show you the engine here. Got a prop rod, fits right in here. Here's where you carry the spare. This car does have power steering. And you'll notice these pods here, one on each side, and there's one on each side in the back underneath the car. And those are part of the hydraulic suspension. All the original tags and so forth still present on the car. These were a pretty innovative, kind of ahead of their time type of car. Have some really neat traits, you know, different styling of course, but you know, really had some neat traits to it. When you close the hood, you want to make sure you latch both sides there and there. And this car was imported to the United States. It was sold brand new in the Seattle area. And this car has spent its entire life here in the Pacific Northwest. That's a good thing. And the reason I say that is because we're fortunate out here in the Pacific Northwest. We don't salt the roads like they do back in the Midwest and in the East Coast. So a lot of our cars survive very nicely, you know, in terms of rust factor, and this car is no exception. Again, you want to take a look at that website so you can see the undercarriage and so forth. It's just very nice under there. It's original, but you're not going to find any rust holes or anything of the sort. So that's very nice. So what I'd like to do now is hop in the car and I'll just start it. You can kind of, you know, hear it run, and I'll drive it around the parking lot a little bit. Steers very nice and easy, very tight steering radius. And with this suspension on here, this hydraulic suspension, boy, these cars drive nice. You'd be really surprised at how nice they really drive, particularly of comparable cars of the era. So let's just do that. Seating is very comfortable. The seats are still very comfortable. I'm not sure if I might be able to show you some of that suspension in action. You can see there, it's kind of moving a little bit. But there's a drive mode that you want to keep it in when you're driving. It's right there. And yeah, it's really kind of cool. Really, you know, part of it is if you want to change the tire, you know, the suspension will be helpful in that, but you're probably not going to do that in today's world. You know, we always just call it AAA, but yeah, you could. You know, it works great. Runs good, runs nice, always starts, little choke works. All facets of the car work excellent. If I can answer any further questions for you about this Citroen, please don't hesitate to give me a call. Again, my name is Rich Dean, and this is West Coast Collector Cars. My number is 503-851-6763, and thank you for watching today.